Welcome back to another episode of What Are You Made Of with your boy, the unstoppable Mike C-Roc. I am here today with my friend Carmelia Ray. We met a while back on Clubhouse, the app that a lot of people were talking about back in the day, especially. We still get on there once in a while. But we met a while back and we got to meet in Miami, and I just had to bring her on the show. She had me on her show, and I'm looking forward to this episode today. So just let me introduce her first and then we'll get into it. Carmelia is one of the most successful matchmakers working with the world's leading entrepreneurs, corporate executives, notable celebrities, and massive influencers. She is also the host and associate producer of her reality dating show and has appeared on hundreds of major media platforms. She recently launched a digital matchmaking academy in October 2020 with her business partners to train new and existing matchmakers in the industry. And she's also a social audio expert, of course, influencer, media mentor, virtual trainer, and award-winning coach. Carmelia, welcome to the What Are You Made Of show.
Wow. Oh my God. That's such a great intro. You have to follow me everywhere and do my intros, man.
Yeah, I was trying to make it through there pretty quickly, but hey, listen, I want to thank you for coming on today, but we always have this tradition of asking the same question of our guests. What are you made of?
Oh, wow. Sugar and spice and everything nice. An eye of newt, probably. What a great question. And, I'm made of resilience. Do people give you adjectives?
Yeah, I've heard it all.
Yeah,
So whatever's coming to mind,
I think I'm made of literally a don't give up attitude. I made up partially of stubbornness. I can be a little stubborn. I'm made of curiosity for sure. I'm very curious about a lot of things. And I think I'm part Tasmanian devil because if you identify with the show, I can be all over the place. It can work well, and in other times not so well. So that really comes to mind, and just curiosity is a big word for me. I just think that I'm so curious about people, and I'm made of a ton of questions, and that comes from the genuine curiosity about people. I think you and I share that.
Yeah, I mean, I love to study people and try to figure them out. And the more I've done that, the less times I think somebody's an asshole, somebody's a dick. You know what I mean? I realize that they have things that they're dealing with. They really, and everybody has different realities, and they may not even realize they're being the way they are. And same goes for us. So I really, it's helped me not take things personal,
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that because I have gone through in my, years of development, personal development, probably really focused on that in the last, I should put my phone on silent. Sorry about that. On
No,
airplane.
this is a show that we don't care. Whatever happens, happens.
Anyway, I don't have Clubhouse playing in the background for you. So that's different.
That's good. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Where was I? That phone call distracted me.
You were in your personal development, something.
Yeah, personal development. So
was I supposed to be listening, by the way?
Thank you for listening.
I'm just kidding.
I wasn't listening to me.
No, I was listening.
Yeah. So I guess through personal development, I mean, you just learn so much about yourself. And to your point about not really knowing how we impact others, and sometimes it's a rude awakening, and mainly in our own private lives in particular, especially in partnership. Sometimes our partners and the people that know us best know us a certain way, and we don't even know that what we're doing or what we're saying is causing a certain emotion or impact to other people. So I'm just so conscious of how I show up in certain spaces. And I know when I know what my triggers are, right? So it's really important that and hang out with people that are going to bring out the best in you versus those that are challenging you in a way that is not positive. There are some people that just want to poke at you, or they're jealous, or they're insecure, or there's all these other emotions, and glass is always half empty, and you owe me, and they come from that place of entitlement. And I don't do well in those environments.
Yeah, well, I love that. And, as I've grown in my personal development journey, I just don't get emotional. And because I've noticed that when you get emotional, your intelligence drops, your IQ drops, whatever, you also, you know, you get exposed. And I'm not cool with that. Like, I don't want my weaknesses exposed, you
That's a
know?
skill set, friend. Like that is a skill set. It's true. I mean, and you discover things about yourself, right? Like I'm sure you've evolved as a father, as a husband, as a partner, as a business owner. You evolve. I've evolved greatly and I'm learning every day. I'm still learning, right? And so I do my best to like manage my behavior, but also I'm also very intuitive. So when you're around other people, there will be signs of how they receive you based on their body language, based on their communication and consistency. If your phone's not ringing, if people don't want you in their space, you'll surely see like who your friends are.
Yeah.
And that's about personal accountability too, right? You have to be accountable for your actions.
Yeah. Well, I want to know more about you and what you're made of. So let's dig deep here. Take me back to growing up. Where'd you grow up? What was your life like, as a youngster? And like, what kind of things have you had to go through to get to where you are today?
Um, so I'm Filipino Canadian. I am a middle child. I have an older brother and a younger brother. My parents immigrated to Canada in the early 70s. I was 3 when I came. So I pretty much grew up in Toronto. My parents are immigrants, were immigrants, and they really didn't have much. So we grew up in an apartment. I shared a room with my brothers. Um, I don't think I ever had my room. I always had to share a room until my parents bought a house in high school. So I grew up in like, I don't know if you want to call it the projects, but it was not. This is Jane and Finch in Toronto. It would be considered like Harlem. It was probably projects. It was not a high income situation, right? So I knew uh, the working hard. My parents also worked really, really hard and they worked long hours. So I was a latchkey kid. Me and my brothers had keys to the apartment. We'd go to the park. There's no cell phones. I'm dating myself right now. That's terrifying to me of thinking my 5-year-old leaves my front door without a cell phone,
No,
without a tracking device. Like that's
it is crazy.
it's crazy to me. Crazy to me.
Yeah.
So that's how I grew up. And we didn't have much. I never had designer anything, and we had to share everything. And I had hand me downs. I remember when I was a kid, a memory. I think I was in grade 3 or 4, and we never bought costumes. My parents didn't have enough money to buy us Halloween costumes. And I lived in like this Italian neighborhood where one side is Italians and the nonnas and the moms, they're making like friggin' princess dresses and trains and tiaras and stuff. And here I am. My dad took a white blank, like a pillow sheet. He put cardboard for ears, cut out 2 eyes, and I think he used like brown marker, and I was a friggin' owl. Like I cried all the way to school. I remember that memory. Another one, we
Wait a
wrapped my
minute. That's a
younger,
damn good costume, though.
oh my, yeah, as I'm in this princess parade with everybody, and I'm like a piece of crap on my face with 2 holes. Like, I mean, it was just hilarious. And then, but and the funny thing is, I remember now, my father, rest his soul, he passed away January 7th, 2020, just before the pandemic. But I remember him like convincing me that this is a great costume, right? And then last story, my younger brother, I remember we wrapped him up in toilet paper because he was a mummy. But by the time he got to school, like the mummy costume flew off him, so we didn't have anything. You know what? But that makes me right now really appreciate where I've come from and really appreciate like the fact that where my kids are not coming from and what I'm able to provide for them. And it's not, they don't get everything they want, but it's such a different experience. And seeing my son as a 17-year-old and my daughter who's 23, and I always like complained about my rough upbringing and what it was like and poor me, and where I'm seeing the difference in today's kids who might have it easier, that shaped me, right? That's what I'm made of. I'm made of those things so that I can appreciate that. And guess what? My childhood was not that bad. And other people lived in worse scenarios or had less money or whatever the case is. And so, yeah, that's my story. I'm rambling a little bit, but
No,
I
that's
just,
okay. I'll cut you off if you ramble too much. I'm in
yeah, yeah.
control here. I have the green bean.
All right.
No, then getting into like working in your career and things. Where did you start, and then how'd you end up where you are now?
Sure. I had a very accidental career, and because I was raised by, traditional Filipino parents, my dad was super, super strict. At 17, I decided that I was big enough to do my own things and I wasn't going to listen to my dad. So I actually ran away from home at 17, and I left. So I was, bouncing from couch to couch and place to place. And I even once was in like a juvenile home, not because I was bad, it's just because I didn't have anywhere to go. And so I worked every retail job you can think of. I was a server, I worked at a bookstore, I did telemarketing. My first job was a paper route with my brother. So I've done everything under the sun, right? At the time when I ran away, and I was like 19, 20, I dropped out of high school. So I had to complete my education as a 21-year-old because both my parents are academic. And I'm like, I got to at least get my high school diploma. It was the hardest thing I ever had to do. Super embarrassing at 21, going to high school, finishing my credits. I thought I was cooler than that, but I did it. And my ex-boyfriend said, you should work at this dating company. And I'm like, it was called Together Dating, and in a phone room. So, dude, we didn't have internet, right? It was pick up the phone and dial. And we sent mailers out. So this company sent like flyers out in the mail that people filled out, and it was handed back through US Post or Canada Post. And the only other way you heard about this dating service is through radio and television. That was traditional marketing. We didn't have Facebook and all of this stuff. So I said, sure, what do I have to do? I had to make phone calls, people who filled out applications, and tell them about the service. So I was an appointment booker, 40 hours a week, sometimes 60 hours a week, because I was young. I just dialed the phone and I phone call. So thousands and thousands of hours, thousands and thousands of conversations of single people telling me their love life, what's working, what's not working. I'm 21 years old. I have no idea about relationships, but I'm talking to a CEO who's 40. I don't know. I must have had a mature voice telling me about his divorce and marriage, and I have no clue what the hell he's talking about. But I did know that love is important, and that if he didn't come to our service, what's he going to do? He's going to just do the same thing that he's always known, right? So why not come and explore this opportunity? I knew really young that I was able to show people a different picture. And when you can change perspective in a really difficult situation, like that's what a coach would do, right? Like my fitness coach, my whatever coach I've ever hired helps me from this fuzzy, I can't do it, no way, this is impossible, to yes, you can. Here's how you do it. This is what you need to do. That step by step, that blueprint, right? The blueprint. So I was so fortunate that I had worked with a lot of people in the telemarketing sales space and in the matchmaking space that were top performers. And I crushed it, Mike. Like I just was really great at talking to people. I was always naturally curious. You were paying me to talk to somebody about relationships and helping them make a great decision. Are you kidding me right now? Like, fell in love with the business and have been in it ever since. Launched my own company in 2010 when I met my current business partner who does all my websites, and he talked to me about blogging. Write a blog and you can make money and you could do this and that. And I'm like, all right. Left my job, my 17-year career, top of my game, leading a sales team, 6-figure income, and mortgage, kids. And I just left, and I just like said, okay, I'm gonna give myself 2 years to see what I can make of myself. And then 2.5 years later, I was cast by a production company to do my own TV show, 4 seasons. It made a difference in my brand and my career and who I am.
How did you get that though? How did you get that?
How did I get on the radar? When I started in matchmaking, if you Googled Carmelia Ray in 2010, I would have been on page 500. Like I didn't even exist. I launched my brand with my website, and my brand builder said, you got to blog, you got to write, you got to post content. So I did that every single day. And I just I did what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to write about what you do. And eventually I started getting noticed. And so my website became ranked. 2.5 years later, I'm ranked. I'm page 1 for Google of online dating expert now today because of everything I did. And so when people Google matchmaker or whatever, I rank pretty high. My content is out there. It's out there in a lot of major media. So whether it's the New York Times or Huffington Post or CNN or whatever, because I've written so many articles over these years, I'm coming up in a lot of these solutions. When Google says, how do I find a boyfriend? One of my articles might pop up. So that's literally how I did it. The production company found me. They interviewed me. I remember my casting because they said it's called Mom versus Matchmaker. All right, look into the camera and you tell me why you would be a better matchmaker than a mom. I'm like, all right, moms, they don't got nothing on me. So I just was myself. I said my part and I said why I think I'd do a better job. And I got that part and it was amazing. So I had an experience of being behind camera, in front of camera, helped with casting, location. I learned a lot about TV and reality. And from then I've appeared in multiple other guest TV shows, from Netflix to OWN to Fox. I did a show with Ice-T. I did a show with Love Goals on Oprah's network. So I had to give 5 celebrity couples who were going through breakup, and they did a DNA test through instant chemistry, and I had to break down their compatibility and their DNA, and it was really, really cool.
So what's the secret to matchmaking?
Oh gosh. Secret to matchmaking, it's really about your network. Everything is about network, C-Roc, right? It's who you know and who you can introduce somebody to. So certainly as a matchmaker, you have to get all the information that you need to thoughtfully make an introduction. And, we, as a business owner and somebody who's looking to collaborate and connect with people like yourself, I mean, you have a platform, you interview a lot of really interesting people. That's how I'm on Clubhouse. I was on Clubhouse because I'm running rooms and conversations around relationships and partnerships and small business and entrepreneurship, because that's where entrepreneurs are. And so matchmaking really is old school process that's happened years and years, where you match boy to girl or girl to girl or whatever you fancy, right? I specialize in introducing single entrepreneurs, C-level executives, so basically professional singles together. And we match them based on their lifestyle, attitude, values, goals. We do a lot of different testing. I'm actually in 2022 incorporating the Genius Key technology with Amelia. That's something that I'm looking to incorporate. I will be doing that. Beyond that, it's also feedback, right? When you hire a matchmaker, that matchmaker is your compare, right? It's your right-hand person. So it's the person that knows you. So when I'm making an introduction, we do pre-date prep, we do post-date feedback. And you know what? If they need to text me in the bathroom and I'm available, what do I say? Like, I'm there too. So I'm their coach, I'm their matchmaker. It's crazy.
And now, so who's fiduciary duty? Like, who do you have the fiduciary duty to? Like both people, or is it like that? Like in real estate?
Okay, yes. So this is really interesting because I am the fly on both walls. Like, it is crazy. So I know what this person, let's say the client male, I know what he's doing, who he's talking to, who he's dating. Client female, same thing. And I'm privy to what's going on, and they tell me what's going on. So it's my job or role to decipher and pepper what is necessary to communicate to each person. And so if the male, for example, and I'll just use the male as an example, it can happen to women as well. If the male has a great date, here's what, and he is still dating others, because as a matchmaker, you're giving them a number of options. It's not just one date. Sometimes it takes longer to find somebody. And sometimes it could take months, C-Roc, to find a match. It's not that easy. It is all dependent on age, income, resources, time, height. Like, there's just every factor. But I've had dates, C-Roc, where one of the other was like, I want to see them again. Had such a great time. It was so fun, blah, blah, blah. And the feedback on the other side is like, were they on the same date? So it's so interesting.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. It is crazy. And then there are times where I have to really reel somebody in. And if there's dating behavior or things that are not helping support a relationship, I will have a talk with, I'll talk to them about that. Right. So
Yeah, yeah.
there are best practices. And at the same time, those who hire a matchmaker, it's not like they're all dating experts and they know what to do. In fact, a lot of people who utilize a dating coach or a matchmaker are those that kind of feel a little out of place, or they just want to trust someone else who has the network. They're very busy. They don't have time. They on their part-time, they're with caring for family members. We're in the pandemic or COVID, and or they're caring for their kids. And then in their off time, they don't really want to be swiping. They don't really want to be going on dates with people that have not been vetted. But our company also does people swiping. So I do have a digital division of our service where we are writing people's profiles, swiping on their accounts, doing the DMs. One of my clients' husband, I went to their wedding. He doesn't even know that I was the one who swiped on his profile and did the initial message, and that's okay. But we do those things. We
Yeah,
do
but when you swipe, okay, see, this wasn't out when I was dating. We didn't have that, right? And I've been married coming up 19 years.
yeah.
And so that's obviously dating myself. But don't you want, like, a lot of people want to put like their best picture up and all this stuff to get people's attention, which you have to do, but isn't there a fine line between that and reality? Because when people see you for the first time, you don't want shock,
Yeah, I mean,
like,
here's the thing. You have to, and it's certainly my advice, and I think any coach would say, yes, you want to lead with a great photo, your the best or most attractive, appealing photo, but you want to make sure in your gallery that there are pictures of you that show what you're really like. I mean, C-Roc, you met me in real life, right? And I, like social media and everybody else, I love my filters. You were saying yesterday, were those your lips? I use this lip filter
I was
on my
messing with you though.
Instagram. No, I
I
know,
knew what
but there
that
are some
felt.
people who really
Yeah,
thought
yeah,
it was. So,
yeah.
I like to play with pretty filters or whatever, but I also, people who know me, who've met me, they know me. I don't have flawless skin. I have wrinkles. I'm
Yeah.
about to turn
Like,
50, but I just think that you need to curate pictures and photos that really do not portray you so differently that if we're in person, you're disappointed. In fact, I'll say for me, and because I'm mindful of those things, people will say, and I will tell clients, she or he is way better in person. Some people are horrible photo takers, like they just not photogenic. And in the same breath, it's my mom. I love my mom dearly, but she's like, oh, Carmelia, my nickname in Tagalog is Milet. She's like, "Oh, Milet, you're catfish. Your clients. You catfish your clients." I'm like, "What are you talking about, Mom?" Because on my Instagram and in a lot of my posts, I'm the more glamorous me,
yeah,
right?
but I wasn't shocked when I saw you. Like,
Yeah, well,
some people, I had that, like, whoa, damn, but nah, I mean, I wasn't, nah, I don't know what she's
yeah,
talking about.
yeah. It's partially a joke because
Yeah.
I think the camera, I'm made for television. I'm not made for radio, although I love radio. I love social audio, but I much rather this. And in reality, I much rather seeing you in person and hanging out face to face, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's kind of like my preference. But the convenience of voice is so like amazing. But because you asked me to go on a podcast and it's visual, I force myself to. I don't really have to, but I get to dress up. I get to
Right.
put some lipstick on. I get to get out of my sweats. I can't stand up because I'm in like booty shorts. Like I at the
Yeah.
you
Me
know, I'm
too.
in
Me too. I'm in booty
yeah,
shorts too.
but yeah.
No, but I had a question for you in regarding coaching. Like, one of the things that people don't do in their relationships, and even when they're dating, or they start off when they're dating, is really observing their partner.
Yeah.
Like you
What do you
can
mean?
tell so much if you just shut your mouth and just really pay attention and observe. And then as you get married or date longer, then it's like most people, they just pass by each other. They talk to each other, not even looking at each other. Like, that's one thing with my wife. and I think this has a lot to do with while we're still together and it's getting better and better every day, is I really observe her. I like the way she looks, but I want to pay attention to that. And I just observe her mannerisms, her facial like expressions, because it tells you a lot, you know?
Yeah, it's nice when you can connect and appreciate your partner. I think a lot of people are so busy doing things, and what are they busy for? I mean, I'm sure I've interviewed you, so I know. And by the way, for those who have not had a chance to listen to that, go check it out on my podcast, because he was so great to interview. I love that we're doing the reverse. Yeah, I think it's just, you got to pay attention to those things, and it's too easy to be distracted. And quite frankly, C-Roc, there's a lot of distraction in today's technology. It's just some of the tricks is getting rid of certain notifications, being intentional with your time. If you're at the dinner table, there's certain rules, like we cannot take the phone in the living room, like it's off limits. Like you just have to be able to set those boundaries for yourself when you have other people around, and you don't want to be competing with a device. I'm so guilty of that. And early days of Clubhouse, the worst. It was the worst. I remember it like I was an addict. It was, you needed to rip this thing off my hands.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah. No, I was the same. And you're trying to grab real estate at the same time too. But as we wind down, I want to ask you about Valentine's Day. We're around Valentine's Day right now. What do you have going on for that? And I know you have a new show coming out on Fireside app. So talk to us about that as we wind down.
Okay. So Monday, February 14th from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern, you can catch me on Fireside. We are talking a little bit early, and I do not have the title of the room yet, but just look for me on Fireside. It's Carmelia. And if by the time this gets posted, I know the name of the show, I will let C-Roc know. I do Matchmaker Monday series on the Wisdom app on Clubhouse, and I do powerful partnerships on LinkedIn on Monday. So on Mondays, which is my hashtag Matchmaker Monday, where you can find me on socials, I do a lot of content around that. And on Valentine's Day in particular, there will be something special. And then finally, right now, through a partnership with mentor.cam, I am doing a group coaching program. It is ridiculously priced. My one question with me on mentor.com is $29.99. But if you go to get a response for $29.99, you will get me for 4 1-hour coaching sessions beginning Wednesday, February 16th, because they are testing out a group coaching format. So you can find me on mentor.com for anybody who wants some date coaching in the next 4 weeks, personally by me. And I just think you should take that offer up, and I'll send you the link of where they can get that.
Awesome. I think a lot of the guys are going to wait to talk to you until after Valentine's Day, so they don't have to buy a gift. Maybe that's why they're single. So, yeah. Well, look, Carmelia, I want to thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for all that you do and the support that you give me. And I just want you to know that I really appreciate and value your friendship. And if there's anything I could ever do for you, all you got to do is holler, as you did yesterday. I'm always here for you. Okay.
Thank you so much. Happy Valentine's Day. And thanks for having me, C-Roc.
Thank you. You guys have been listening to the What Are You Made Of podcast with your boy, the unstoppable Mike C-Roc. And listen, I know Carmelia, and she's unstoppable too. I'm going to keep bringing you great guests until you guys figure this out, that your life, the life of your dreams, is there for you, and you are unstoppable to live in it. So until next time, be unstoppable.